Hello, human schools and mutated fools. My name is Mara, and this is the channel Beware Mutated Zombies. Currently, we are playing our way through Cinderella Phenomenon, a otome game that is based around a princess who is filled with coldness, being cursed to be kind. It seems she's getting that way. We just saw a shirtless Karma, and oh, my heart is as a flutter. But yeah, we're trying to get some good deeds in here. We'll see if we get any opportunities for good deeds in this episode. Oh yeah, in last episode, we almost got kidnapped, and Karma saved us. And we found out that Karma was like stalking us, but not really stalking us, but probably kind of, yeah, he's stalking. It's stalking when you, yeah. But yeah. So it's getting interesting. The princess isn't growing on me, but I can see she's starting to change. Her childhood is really messed up because her mom. But yeah, let's continue and get some romance in here. Okay. I leave the room with Karma, and he leaves the tavern as I go to find Parfait and Delora. The two of them are seated together in the reception, speaking in hushed voices when I arrive. They both pause to look up at me as I walk into the room. Well, if it isn't the princess, took you long enough to come to see us? Anise told us you were unharmed. We're glad to see you are safe, princess. So, how about telling us what happened? When prompted, I tell them everything that transpired in the alleyway. The two listen and only exchange solemn glance when I'm done. Do you know something about all of this that I don't? Why would the witches be after me in the first place? You remember what we said about the Tenebrarum corrupting witches? Well, those witches don't like seeing curses broken. They meddle where they can because they can. That is why I cast a glamour on you when you arrived here so that you could remain hidden from magical eyes. I did it to protect you. Oh, I did not know we had a glamour placed upon us. To protect me? I feel like there is more to this that they are hiding, but I do not think any amount of convincing will get them to say anything. Forgive us, princess. We're not entirely sure what's going on either, though if it was a human that captured you, he must be working with the witches somehow. Troublesome, to say the least. But we don't know the details yet. Give us some time to figure things out. Until we figure out who that man is and who he is working for, you need to have an escort with you out of the Martian at all times. Do you understand? And once you figure it out, will you tell me? The two exchange another look, which only makes me more frustrated. They are obviously keeping secrets and right in front of me. We'll tell you once everything falls into place. Don't worry, princess. We would never let you be put in any danger. The silence is what ends our conversation. I make my way back to my room, feet heavy. I feel like a fly caught in a spider's web. I try my best to clear my mind as I return to my room. Karma! The days go by slowly, and I make no progress with my curse. Karma is busy with the knights today, and Delora and Parfait are busy talking with Rumple about his curse in his room. Tonight is the perfect night to go and wander the town by myself. No? I need to see if I can find out anything about the witches and what is happening around the kingdom. Delora and Parfait are not going to tell me anything, and no one has wanted to take me out of the Marchen since the kidnapping attempt. These thoughts spiral helplessly in my mind as I sit at the table. I have just finished working for the day, and the activity in the Marchen is beginning to wind down. Garland stands at the door as the last few customers leave the Marchen. Jerian is walking around the room to make sure that there are no problems. Out of the corner of my eyes, I notice two men pause halfway across the room to glance back at her. I can overhear their words from where I am. Shame that she's a knight, eh? She's the proud type, too proud to let a man dote on her. Bleeding shame indeed. But do you think if I try to say something to her... You too. Garland is suddenly standing behind the two men, an uncharacteristically dark glare on his face. Is there a problem? Doors are closing for the night. I'm going to have to ask you to leave. No need to be so uptight, lad. We're on our way out now. The two men walk out, and Garland stands in the middle of the tavern area, glaring after them. He more or less pushed them out of the tavern. If Anise had seen that, she'd probably have scolded him. Garland. Oh, did he get caught? You okay? Of course. You think you could fool me? I've known you long enough to know that something's bothering you. Neither of the knights seem to notice me here. If they do, they ignore me. Durian is still looking insistently at Garland, who looks down at the floor. Is he going to say something to her? Garland says nothing, though. He looks at a loss for words. Finally, Durian reaches out and pokes his shoulder, and he looks up, startled. Still the same as always, the silent, watchful knight. Only says things with certainty when he knows they're the truth. Even the princess is waiting for you to say something. Both knights turn to look at me, and Garland seems surprised. I raise an eyebrow at him, and he hurriedly looks away. Patrol is starting soon. I'll head up first. Garland! Why? Okay, stay safe. Garland nods at her with a little smile before he leaves the tavern. He makes me think of a puppy. Going to sleep soon, princess? I was just going to head up. I stand up and get ready to move up to my room, but stop once more to look at Durian. Did you hear what those men were saying? Oh, about me being too proud or something? So she did hear them, but chose to say nothing. It doesn't bother me. They're right. I've been independent for a long time, and I would never think about pledging my safety to a man I barely know. I can take care of myself. Blunt and to the point. Durian was really admired for that honesty in the palace. The only other men I've trusted before are my fellow knights, Garland most of all, since we've always been partners. She does not explain any further. I decide that is for the better. The sooner everyone has cleared out, the sooner I can leave the Marchen. Tonight is the night I go looking for answers. Princess, you dumb. Sorry, Karma, but I can handle myself. I'm going to prove it tonight. I may not be able to fight, but I can still be cautious enough to not land myself into trouble. Did you bring yourself a weapon? Because if you did not bring a weapon to protect yourself, then I'm going to have to, say you're kind of dumb. Still, I do not happen to hear much of anything as I am exploring the town tonight. I should have brought along some kind of weapon, but then I would have had to steal a knife from the kitchen. I am not a thief. You could have brought Mr. Broom. Hours pass before I pass a tavern filled with knights. Deciding that I will at least listen to what is happening at the palace, I linger by the open door and listen to what the men are saying. I hear that young Fritz is having a hard time of it. I feel bad for the lad. Even Sir Alcaster thinks he's gone mad. Well, he does keep talking about a princess that doesn't exist. Fritz still remembers me, but how? Wait, so Fritz could put it together, or not Fritz, Waltz could put it together that I was cursed, but Fritz can't. Or not Waltz, Rod. Rod can put together that I've been cursed because no one remembers me. And he doesn't tell Fritz and lets Fritz go on being insane? That's kind of messed up. That's really messed up. Like, what the hell? Even his father's growing weary of his babbling. Sir Mithros forced him on a break the other day. He didn't seem happy. Well, Sir Mithros must think he's crazy too. Poor Fritz. Can you keep a secret? The knights look at each other, and I lean as close as I possibly can. Apparently, the boy spoke some truth. Though Sir Alcaster doesn't believe it, he's looking for the daughter of the previous queen. The witch had a daughter? The previous queen? Are they talking about Mother? How dare they call her a witch? Apparently she did, though I don't even remember such a girl. This is top secret stuff. I just happened to wrestle this out of one of the lackeys looking for her. What would Sir Alcaster need this girl for? I'm assuming she's dangerous and that they want to get rid of her. Are they talking about me? I'm curious. How are we supposed to find this imaginary princess anyway? Does she have any features? Aye, they described her features. Last man who went looking for her said she wore a special pendant around her neck. Oh. I should get out of here. I turn to leave the tavern, but my cloak snags on the door and falls to the floor, tripping me up in the process. I end up falling halfway into the tavern where the chatter abruptly stops. Is this... Oh, a lady. The knights that were talking approach me. One of them picks up my cloak. I attempt to grab my cloak from their fingers, but they pull it away from me and I stumble into one of them. Madam. He moves to take my hand, and then he stops when he sees my face. Her face! And a necklace! You think she was spying on us? Witch! One of the knights grabs me by the wrist and pulls me toward him. He is far stronger than the man in the alleyway was. Unhand me right now, I am no witch. Then there should be no problem. We're just going to take you in, and if there's some big misunderstanding, we'll repay you ourselves, miss. No, let me go. This behavior is not fitting of a knight. Come now, miss. Let's go back quietly. Well, they called me a witch. Witches are feared. People are being messed up. I'm just gonna keep fighting them. Try to fight them. I may be outnumbered, but I cannot let myself be caught. Maybe the people at the bar will help me. I open my mouth to scream, but one knight covers my mouth as some attention falls on us. Nothing to fear here, everyone. Just a criminal we've apprehended. Ah! I struggle in their grasp, but the men are too strong for me. Don't fight back, ma'am. Resistance is useless. Everyone in the bar looks scared of me. This is even worse than everyone glaring at me. I try to blink back the tears as they come into my eyes. Come on, let's take her to the palace. The knights lead me out onto the empty streets. Why? Why did I have to be so stubborn? The knights continue pulling me down the path until we come to a narrow street. Everyone who sees us walks away to avoid the knights. There is fear in their eyes. But I've done nothing wrong. Ma'am, if it makes you feel any better, we're risking our rank on this as well. I don't know. I'm suspicious of... Who goes there? I look up and notice Karma's familiar figure walking toward us. What is he doing here, and why isn't he in his disguise? Gentlemen, I ask you to unhand that woman. As a knight, I would be ashamed to be seen treating a lady so terribly. And who are you? Her husband. His what? Unhand her, gentlemen, or taste my blade. Sir, we were just going to take her to the palace, too. I will give you on the count of 3. One knight keeps his grip on me as the other draws his sword. I stare at Karma, who continues to count, though the knight attacks him before his sword leaves his sheath. Karma and the knight trade blows, but it is Karma that comes out victorious. His blade slides past the knight's shoulder, distracting him enough to give Karma the opening he needs. Karma reaches back with his free hand to knock the knight out with a blow to the head. It may be just my imagination, but for a few moments I think I see the knight's blade glimmer across the surface of Karma's hand before he falls. The knight holding me holds up his hands in surrender. I yield, sir. It seems no matter how this situation turns out, you are dishonorable. But please, sir. Karma knocks him out and then stands beside me as he sheathes his sword. Karma, a few moments, Lilac. Karma spends some time forcing a potion from a vial down each of the knight's throats. I watch him quietly, fearing that he might have killed them, but the knights only seem to be asleep. A potion that Parfait gave me. It will make the men forget they were ever saw you. When Karma stands again, I notice the glimmer of blood on his hand and stare. You're hurt. It's nothing. I'm so sorry. Come on, princess. Let's go back. He pulls me right out onto the main street and does not let go of my hand. I cannot bring myself to speak. Karma has saved me twice now. Not only that, but this time he is injured. He says it's nothing, but his bloodied hand does not move at all. Why do I have to be so stubborn and insist I can handle it myself? I do not speak for a long time. Eventually, I notice people start to stare. Though before long, the staring grows worse. Oh yeah, oh no. Young women begin following us, giggling from behind. I turn to Karma, who looks like he hasn't slept in days. Karma. Sorry, princess, but I'm not in the mood to talk. Those girls are walking right behind us. This is his curse? Karma. Lilac, I just said I am in no mood to talk. Did you not hear me? We are being followed. He stares behind us almost stupidly and then laughs hollowly when the girls see his face. They start to rush towards us, their voices rising and blending together into horrendous cacophony. Karma is not moving though. He looks resigned. Maybe he is too tired to realize what he wants to do. I tighten my grip on Karma's hand and pull him away, my pace quickening to a run as the girls chase after us, screaming at me angrily for taking Karma away from them. Lilac, what are you doing? Getting us out of here. Lilac. I lead him through the town and into the little nooks and crannies where we managed to lose some of the crowd. Karma often led me through some of these spaces as shortcuts. Waltz knew them too. Once we are alone again, I stop, falling to my knees and letting go of Karma's hand as I catch my breath. That really was a curse, having to run away from so many mindless women. That was difficult. Lilac? What? I did not mean to snap, but the tiredness is pressing on me too. You helped me out of that. Of course I did. Why would I want to be chased by girls? You could have left me behind and gone on alone. Instead, you helped me. You helped me too. I guess I paid you back. But to be honest, I wasn't even thinking about repaying him for saving me. I just knew that I didn't want Karma to be stuck, trying to fend off all those girls. He was right about his curse. That is terrible. I just realized something. Karma kneels down beside me and waits for me to speak. My curse has people forget me, and yours has even strangers become fascinated with you. It's almost like our curses are opposites of each other, and yet we seem so similar. My eyes widen when I realize what I just said. We are similar, aren't we? He holds out his good hand to me, and I let him lead me back to the tavern through the abandoned alleyways. My feet are heavy, and all I want to do is sleep, but suddenly Karma is standing before me, his face grave. Lilac, I have to thank you for helping me earlier. I'm sorry I froze like that, and I made it more difficult to warn you. It was so sudden, I was so tired, I had no motivation to move. Shouldn't I be thanking you? I'll accept your thanks, even though I wish you didn't have to thank me in the first place. You should not have gone out on your own when you knew how dangerous it could be for you. I'm sorry. I'll accept your apology too, because I lost sleep over this. I have no words for how I feel right now. Princess. Ah! Karma reaches for my hand again, and this time he holds it up and kisses the back of it. Suddenly, all of my tiredness falls away. You really are a handful. But a delightful handful. I'm going to bench this hand and then rest. We'll speak up later about all of this, okay? Ah! But the blood. The bleeding stopped on its own, Lilac, but it does need to be treated. Don't worry, it'll be fine. Are you sure? As sure as I can be. I don't lie, not even for the sake of a pretty lady. Karma lets my hand go as we enter the Marchen and then bows politely to me before heading back to his room. I watch him go, my mind whirling. Does he usually kiss women's hands? No, I don't think so. Ah. Chapter 6. Matchmaking. Matchmaking? You really are a handful. A delightful handful. His words keep repeating in my head. I cannot stop hearing his voice and feeling his lips on my hand. My face feels warm, and every time I think about his words, my heartbeat feels unsteady. Ah, she's blushing! I really have to stop thinking about that. Karma is karma, and he puts on that overly polite act with everyone. But then I am pretty sure I've never seen him do something like that with another person. I'll just go downstairs and stop thinking about all of this. I need to tell Parfait and Delora what happened. Because of the time I'd returned to the Marchen yesterday, I never spoke to anyone about what happened. Maybe someone's downstairs. Someone usually is. I leave my room and make my way downstairs to the reception. It is quiet when I enter, but not as silent as I thought it would be. Karma is sitting at one of the tables, speaking quietly with Parfait and Delora. His injured hand is sitting on the table, bandaged. I cannot help but stare at it, my heart plummeting. His injury is my fault. So you have yet to hear the entire story? No, I'm afraid I'm not quite privy to the information Waltz has. Is that correct? Waltz has been directly involved in this far longer than you have. What about Waltz? Yeah, you all better be shocked. Give me the news! Princess, you're up early. They all turn to look at me as I stand at the table. Karma still looks tired and is not in his dress. He looks somber, but still smiles at me. Lilac, how nice of you to join us. When did you start saying my name without my title? Lilac, you've run into a lot of different mishaps this week, haven't you? I thought you would be stubbornly avoiding work. Instead, you go out of your way to get yourself into trouble. This involves me directly. How would I not be curious? You've also been irresponsible, sneaking out without any of us knowing. I have the freedom to do whatever I want to. I even wore a cloak too. Oh no, the cloak. I left it at the bar. I feel a nudge on my arm, and Karma is holding out my cloak with a tired smile. You went back to get this? When? Yesterday, when you were still in bed. You said you were resting! You've been running yourself dry these last few days, Karma. It's nothing. Thank you. What's this? Our ice princess is thanking someone? Why is that something so strange? Oh, come now, she's not so icy. Lilac is more fire than anything. She's filled with unbridled passion and confidence. Confidence that has gotten me nowhere so far. Don't look so dour, Lilac. You've become quite the accomplished woman. Karma gestures towards me and I flush, unsure of what he is talking about. Then I notice Dolores' eyes are on me too. Oh, Parfait, do you see that? What are you looking at? Or what are they looking at? I reach down to grab my necklace and then pause. I cannot stop the gasp that leaves my lips. Oh, I have a fragment. When did this happen? Princess, you didn't realize that there was an extra piece to your necklace? Congratulations, Princess Lilac. You're a step closer to breaking the curse. I feel proud. I only ever felt this way around Mother. She did me a great favor yesterday. If not for Lilac, I might have suffocated beneath a pile of very excited women. Wait, helping Karma escape was a good deed? She was selfless. He's not even mentioning the injury he got protecting me. Parfait and Delora are both smiling, but the cheerful mood does not last long. What were you all talking about before I came down? About your kidnapping. Well, kidnappings. Both of them. It looks like we have a serious problem on our hands. What do you know about this? What does Waltz know that I don't? Princess, it's more about what everyone else knows that you don't. What everyone else knows? I feel anger begin to simmer inside me. Even though he looks apologetic, he says it so casually. Are they finally going to tell us that her mom is a witch? Like the witch? The one that was the big bad? And that everyone blames us for her? Is that what we're going to find out? What are you all hiding from me? Let's gather everyone later, shall we? I think Waltz might want to be here for this too. What does Waltz have to do with any of it? Be patient, Princess. You've already waited this long. What's another few hours? I have no choice but to agree when Parfait and Delora refuse to say any more, but I am not happy about it. I spend the rest of my time doing idle chores around the tavern. I do a round of sweeping with Mr. Broom and mindlessly organize some of the bottles. I cannot believe everyone knows something about me that I don't. But now I'll find out the entire story. Maybe it will answer some of the questions I have. But why are they keeping things about me a secret to begin with? Delora gathers everyone in the tavern to discuss the kidnappings. I decide to sit between Waltz and Karma. So we have a story to tell. Story time, huh? I don't suppose this would be a romance, would it? How can you stand to make comments like that constantly? How can you stand to live a lie? The two glare at each other across the table, but Delora silences them. Delora starts with the story about the Great War, one that I have already heard so many times I can recite it myself. What does any of this have to do with me? Because of the fairy tales, witches like myself were punished for simply existing. Our leader, the Tenebra Arm-Bearer, was a kind witch that was overtaken by the grief that our people suffered. She was driven so far into madness that she created the fairy tale curse to punish humans and make them suffer as the witches had. And when that wasn't enough, she committed the ultimate taboo. She killed a human. I tried to stop her, but by the time I thought to act, it was too late. Knowing that Delora and Parfait were involved in the Great War makes it seem more real. But wasn't the Tenebra Bear killed? How can the fairy tale curse continue to spread if she is dead? I believe that the Tenebra Bear sacrificed the last bit of her life to continue powering the Tenebra, all to ensure that the remaining witches could continue spreading the fairy tale curse. Is none of this ringing a bell for you? What are you talking about? She really did erase your memories. Erase? The witch who died, the Tenebra Bearer, was your mother, Princess Lilac. Knew it! What? For some reason, I turn to look at Karma, who is one of the many people who doesn't look away from me. I grew up outside of this kingdom, but even I knew of the terrible witch, Hildur. You expect me to believe any of this? She wasn't a witch. I would remember that. Well, you would if you had memories of the war, and the years before that. Under Hildur's rule, the palace was a dark place. The king didn't have any real power until Hildur was defeated. That goes for the rest of us too. We were slaves to Hildur. Dolora's eyes flicker to Waltz. It's the truth. Waltz knows because he is also a witch. He experienced Hildur's command over the witches firsthand as well. What? So witches can be cursed themselves? Waltz is a witch? Sorry for keeping it a secret, Princess. It's not as if I can use much magic anymore anyway. Not when I'm cursed. This is just another secret of many. It seems everyone is hiding something. Everyone was freed after Hildur's reign. Witches, fairies, and humans alike. The king was even able to marry Ophelia, the woman he always truly loved. So it has always been Ophelia that he truly loved? Was that the reason I never felt any love from him, because I was my mother's daughter? He gave up on me. No, dear, I don't think he gave up on me. My voice is too loud in the reception area. I feel it crack beneath the pressure, and suddenly I want to cry. But Mother told me so many times not to cry. The king gave up on me. But Mother didn't. Mother would tell me this was all a lie. She would tell me not to trust anyone. They must be lying. I turned to Karma. For some reason, I trust him more than I trust Dolor or Parfait. Is this the truth? I was told the story of Hilda and her daughter, Lilac. They said you were the picture of elegance, but that you shared your mother's icy nature. But I don't think that's true at all. If Hilda was ice, then you most certainly are a warm fire. If my mother was a witch, then what does that make me? You're a witch as well, whether or not you were ever taught to use magic. On your upcoming birthday, you will become the Tenebrar bearer. Do you realize how ridiculous this all sounds? Me, a witch? The king never said anything. And now I cannot even ask him if this is the truth because I'm cursed. Why would you even curse me? We didn't want a repeat of the tragedy, Lilac. I sat on your shelves for almost a year, Princess. There was ice on your heart, and if you had inherited the Tenebrar in that state, who knows what would have happened. Then why didn't you just tell me any of this? Dolor and Parfait look at each other before dropping their gazes to the ground. If we had told you before, would you have been even bothered to listen? The king must have tried to do the same thing, and look how that turned out. You shut out everyone who ever tried to tell you about Hilda's true nature. That is probably true. Even now I'm having trouble believing that they are telling me the truth. The whole world feels as if it's collapsing around me. I need to escape. I need to go out and be somewhere else, but why are the witches looking for me? You are the heir to the Tenebrar. No doubt the evil witches want you on their side so they can continue wreaking havoc in Angiel with the fairy tale curse. The men that were looking for Lilac were not witches, though. They were knights. Perhaps the witches and the knights are working together? This must be part of Alcaster's scheme to steal the throne. What are you talking about? The reason why Garland and I left the Order of Caldera was because the king did not believe us about Alcaster's coup. How would he know of the princess's identity, though? Anyone who isn't a witch, a fairy, or isn't cursed shouldn't be able to remember her. But now we know that it's not just the witches looking for the princess, but the Knights of the Order of Caldera as well. They definitely have a description of her from someone. Lilac? Karma reaches out a hand to touch my shoulder, and I flinch back before standing up. I cannot speak about this now. I want to be alone. Let her go. She'll need a lot of time to think. I leave everyone sitting at the table as I try to process the whirling thoughts in my mind. Hilda, my mother, the only person I have ever thought loved me, was the Tenebrar bearer, a witch, the first witch to kill a human. The witch that started the fairy tale curse. All this time I thought Mother was the only one who cared, but what if she never did? I stay in my room for a long time, trying to process everything I have ever been told. Days go by before I decide to leave the tavern again to watch Karma practice with the knights. These last few days I felt hollow. Maybe seeing the normal practices will help me feel better. Maybe it will make things feel like nothing's changed. When I arrive in the forest, however, only Karma is standing in the clearing. He's staring through the trees as if he sees something there, but his expression is solemn almost. Sad. Eventually he sighs, shaking his head before turning in my direction. Lilac. I prepare myself for a response, but find that no words come to my mind. I have not spoken to Karma since the talk about Mother and the witches, and any of the ease I felt with him before has slipped away. Still, I came here on my own, and I cannot just stand here being mute. I say the first thing that comes to my mind. Where are Julian and Garland? I'll only train with Garland. Jurian is on patrol duty tonight. He'll be here later. I just came early. It seems you did too. Lilac, are you okay? I'm sorry I haven't been by to see you. It is not as if you owe that to me. I don't owe it to you, but I truly wanted to. I've just been busy these last few days scouting the town for information. As much as I want you to come with me, why would you ever have wanted to pair up with someone like me anyway? Why, Princess? That's because I am bitter and cold, and even though I want to change, all I can think about is myself. But now I want to change because I do not want to be the same as my mother. Isn't that selfish? Maybe so, but I believe you are being selfish for the right reasons. An entirely selfless person can't survive in this world. Before we can make others happy, we have to make ourselves happy. Happy? Ourselves? Yes. An angry person holds resentment toward everyone, and it mars whatever good deeds they seek to do. That is why I cannot complete my good deeds. Wrong. You've already got one done. Recognizing the need for change is always a good thing, Lilac. Regardless of the motivation, you are trying to become a better person. That is what matters. He takes a step toward me, then puts his hand on my shoulders and leans down until I can look right into his eyes. Karma's serious expression startles me as much as his touch. This looks more seductive than serious, but okay. It is never too late for anyone to change. You taught me that. What? How could I have taught Karma anything? Do you mind if I tell you a story, Lilac? He is standing too close. Step away from him, don't move. If we step away from him, he might take that as I don't want to hear anything. I'm going to say don't move. With his face so close, all I can do is stare right into his eyes. Karma's hand tightens on my shoulders, and for a few moments I feel a slight panic rise in my chest. Then Karma steps away from me with a rough shake of his head. Karma? Next time I do that, Lilac, feel free to push me away. What? It is better that way. What does he mean by that? You never answered. Will you listen to my story? All right. Once upon a time in a land far, far away, there lived a crown prince from a kingdom called Brugantia. Brigantia? Brigantia is one of the neighboring kingdoms, so this isn't make-believe. His name was Claude Idric Rinaldi Matthias Almonte, but because the name was such a mouthful, he settled for an acronym as a nickname. Karma. At least around the palace, where it was acceptable. Claude Idric Karma? Prince Claude was a man who flaunted his beauty and talents to all that he met. He often used his title to get what he wanted. Prince Claude was a selfish man who felt he was entitled to everything that he had. He was vain and often left his castle unattended so that he could avoid his responsibilities. Then, one day, he chanced upon a beautiful maiden in the town square. He led her around the whole day, being as charming as he possibly could. And then at the end of the day, he asked the woman to be his lover. She agreed, but their time together did not last long. Only weeks later, Prince Claude threw her away as one throws away an object and broke the woman's heart. And she cursed him. That beautiful maiden was a witch, but Prince Claude found out too late. The witch said she would make his beauty his vanity, a curse. To make even beauty a curse. Ashamed of being cursed, Prince Claude donned a disguise and left his kingdom behind. He has been gone for nearly a year now, and most probably assume he is dead. But in truth, the prince had come to NGL seeking a way to break his curse. He had heard a young lady named Lilac, who, on her 18th birthday, could dispel any curse. Karma. He looks so sad, I don't know how to comfort him. Claude? Oh no, he's blushing. Karma, Claude, turns a startling red as he stares at me, and for a few moments he does not speak. Then he bursts out laughing. I stare at him in shock, not understanding his reaction. I feel myself blush. Isn't that your real name? No, darling, it is, but hearing you say my name, well, it sounds so much softer out of your lips, I rather like it. My cheeks are warm again. How is it that he is always able to make me feel this way? I will call you by that name if it makes you so happy. Let's make it a secret between the two of us. I'm still Miss Karma here. Besides, I'd rather you keep that name for my ears only. It makes me feel more special that way. Ah, more special? At that moment, Garland shows up for practice and Claude politely excuses himself. I watch the two of them trade blows. Claude favors his other hand, but his blows still come quickly, even with his injury. The more Claude tells me, the more I realize that he's, like me, a noble curse for being selfish. But how do I help break his curse? Why can't he tell me? As practice is drawing to a close, Claude asks Garland the usual question. Have you confessed to Jurian yet? Garland only shakes his head in reply. The two men sheathe their swords. Garland looks almost sad as he turns to make his way back to the tavern. He likes her, and yet he won't say anything. Why is that frustrating me so much? Garland. Yes, princess? You should tell her. You should not let things. You should not let things stay hidden. And she trusts you. You've been partners for so long. And also, if you're just going to chase away every guy who might want to woo her, you're not doing anyone any favors. So you have to tell her. Claude told me before that confessing is hard, but what Garland is going through looks even harder. Princess, you know I'm incapable. No, you think you're incapable, but if you never say anything to her, you'll never know. If I say something wrong, I risk losing everything that I already have with her. And if you say nothing, you risk losing what you could have with her. Lilac is right. Maybe you should really tell her, Garland. But before, Claude was adamant that Garland shouldn't confess to Jurian. What changed? If I mess this up... let's try looking at it through another lens. Imagine that Jurian is Lilac. How do you think she would like to be confessed to? I frowned at the two men, arms crossed. Excuse me? Well, you and Jurian are very similar. You're both very straightforward. Confess to the princess? My eyes moved to Claude, but only fleetingly, before they are once again on Garland. You just need to do something simple, Garland, something that will not rub her the wrong way. A man's heart is very fragile, and each woman is different. Claude is wearing an amused smile on his face, but he is looking at me, not Garland. I feel my face flush and have to look away. Lilac, your tomato red again. It's adorable. Ah! I crossed my arms over my rapidly beating heart again and forced a scowl on my face. No, I was just thinking about what Garland could do. Something simple, like when Karma kissed my hand. Garland kissing Jurian's hand is probably not a good idea. Maybe he could do what Claude and I did that one day in town. He can buy her some food and they can just talk. Garland, have you ever just asked Jurian out for food? Not alone. Jurian is practical and she always eats at the tavern. She's also always on duty if she's available. I'll take her patrol shift 2 nights from now then, and tomorrow you can ask her out for a meal. We can make your invite a grand affair. We can drape banners on the walls, or I could give you a rose. That's too much. That sounds like a terrible idea. I am offended. I feel like I did something like that for Jurian. I feel like if I did that for someone like Jurian, she would get embarrassed and punch me. Sounds like another lady that I know. Claude grins at me, but I just roll my eyes. Garland, just ask her normally, and then when you are out and alone together, you can confess. And we'll make sure you have the time to do it. I'll purposefully come late to practice tomorrow night so you can ask her out for that date. How does that sound? You two really think I can do this? You just have to ask the question. Whatever follows will at least be an answer. Tomorrow night, then. Good man. I'm sure it will go swimmingly. Or I could drown. You won't drown, Garland. Garland excuses himself with a nervous smile before Claude turns to me expectantly with a mischievous grin. Now, Lilac, we'll come here early tomorrow and spy on them. We need to scope out a good spot. Spy on them? Of course, we need to make sure that our efforts pay off. I don't think we should. You don't want to see how it plays out? I mutely shake my head, unable to put my emotions into words. For some reason, I am imagining myself in Jurian's position. It feels too personal. Claude's likeliness suddenly springs to mind, and I feel my face grow hot again. What? Lilac, you've been all the out of it today. Claude reaches out a hand toward me, then abruptly pulls away. I stare as he smiles at me, almost sheepishly. The conversation between us dies, and we return to the Marchand. Okay, I'm gonna leave it here, because I will just spend way too much playing this game, and I do not have time. I still have things to do. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead, and we'll leave it here. Thank you all for watching. Like, share, subscribe, comment, ring the bell, do all the things. And, I'm so excited. I hope that Jade says yes.